Welcome to the Encouragement for Real Life podcast. I'm Julie Lefebvre, your host. Life is remarkable, sometimes raw and always real. And some days we could use a little extra encouragement for our real lives. Here you'll find that, along with personal life-impacting stories, helpful life hacks, timely inspiration, biblical insight, and a fresh perspective. The Encouragement for Real Life podcast equips you to be a light in this world and to shine bright wherever God has you. I'm glad you're here today. Welcome to Encouragement for Real Life. I am so glad you're here today. It is our guest episode for the month, and I don't have just one guest joining me today. I have three. All year long, I am inviting certain people onto the podcast to be my guests who have positively impacted my life in one way or another. And I have to say that these three certainly have. For 4 years, I have been meeting with these friends on Monday mornings to pray with and for each other. And today, I'm excited to share the lively and fun conversation that we all had during our weekend together in St. Louis last month. Yes, we all traveled to St. Louis, met there. It was kind of the middle way point for us, and we had a fun weekend together. So coming from all different states, it was the first time that we were all together in person in one place at the same time, and it was fabulous. And on Saturday morning of that fun weekend, we sat around our Airbnb's kitchen table. I opened my laptop, turned on the camera and the mic, and hit record. And I believe that you're going to be blessed to hear how 4 years of friendship and faith and prayer has impacted each of us, and what an abundant life really means to these friends of mine. Natalie Ogbourne, Pamela Henkelman, and Rachel Fahrenbach. So, without further delay, let's get into this episode. Welcome to the Encouragement for Real Life podcast. Joining me today are these wonderful friends of mine, Rachel Fahrenbach, Natalie Ogbourne, and Pamela Henkelman. I knew I'd get someone's name. You got it. So we are here today, and we are on a remote location, and we're having a lot of fun trying to figure out how we're going to do a podcast together. And you've already known that, because I've already said that I know that we've known these women through our prayer group that we happen every Monday morning. So in 15 seconds, say a little bit about you. Just introduce who you are in 15 seconds, and I'm going to time. Go. No.
I'm Rachel Fahrenbach, and I am a writer of both nonfiction and fiction books that help people reconnect with their faith.
I'm Natalie Ogbourne, and I write about Yellowstone from a Christian perspective.
And I'm Pamela Henkelman, and I'm an empty nest coach and the host of the Midlife Mama podcast. I help Christian moms let go with grace and embrace the empty nest.
There we go.
And they do a lot more than that. They're women who love their community, who are mothers, and what are you? Wives, you know, they do a lot more than just writing and things like that. So anyway, I'm glad that you get to be a part of our conversation today. So we have some questions that we're just you can get to know them, and they can just share a little bit of their perspective. And since we have been together in this prayer group for 4 years, what has encouraged or challenged you spiritually? Rachel, you want to go first? Because you're the one that put this prayer group together. Really, God did it, but
Yeah.
tell us about that.
So a few years ago, I was realizing that I wanted to be a little bit more intentional about my business and intentional with, I was getting serious about different things. And there's just so many aspects to what we do, and it can feel kind of lonely. And I knew I wanted to be intentional about praying for business, but I wanted to do it within a community. And I have heard of another businesswoman mention that she done the prayer group specifically to pray for her business. So I put out, hey, who wants to do it with me? And we'll do it for 30 days and see where it takes us. And 4 years later, here we are. I think we calculated it and we've prayed together over 200 times and have met pretty regular, like we really haven't missed a week. There's been very few weeks that we have taken off. And I think for me, it started out as, we're going to just be intentional praying about our business and that God would direct us. And I did not realize how much meeting regularly about that like morph into growing in all areas of my life. And these women here bring so much wisdom to our conversations. They have such a heart for the Lord. And I think for me, watching you three just navigate life and navigate your businesses and navigate everything and to see where God has taken you and the ups and downs and just your faithfulness and your commitment to trusting Him had just been such a beautiful example to me. And so I feel like for me, that's what has been the most impactful is to have you be almost like mentors to me because I am the youngest out of the group. And
You are.
I am the baby. And so I think about in Titus where Paul said that the older women should mentor the younger women. And I think that I stepped into the thinking, I'm just going to be praying for my business. And I walked out with beautiful friends who have so much wisdom. And like I said, I look up to you guys and I see you as mentors in my life. Friends too. But yeah, so that's what I have gained from it. Well,
That's great. Great. Okay. So would either one of you want to answer that question?
I can answer.
Okay.
And then I think that if I know that meeting on Monday mornings is one of the things that I look forward to the absolute most. It's one of the best parts of my week. And I also know that if I said, I don't have time to do that anymore, my husband would have some thoughts on it. If he sees it, he has seen what a difference it's made in my life. And I think the challenging aspect from you three has a lot to do with mindset. And I have appreciated that a lot because when I get discouraged, I tend to get really, really discouraged. I'm kind of either up or down. And that has been really helpful from you three.
Yeah. Do you want to answer too?
Yes. Yes. I would say what I love about this group is that it's not just about business. We started about business, but then we started sharing real life. And I find it to be a safe space. I find it to be so encouraging and like just to know that you have real friends. I'm sad that we can't meet in real life. Like literally, this is the first time we have in 4 years.
Yeah.
And all weekend I've been saying, I can't believe I get to meet real friends because I'm very much a connector. So just sharing life with these women and feeling safe has been the greatest gift for me.
Yeah, I agree. And we have really experienced some heavy stuff
Yes.
in our lives in 4 years. I mean, just think about all the things that we have experienced that we prayed each other through and about. And I mean, there's some life-altering things.
there have been.
Yeah.
There's been grief, but there's also been a lot of joys too. That's been,
Yeah.
I think, exciting for me just to see when you stick with people long enough to be able to feed the seasons of, I think about that verse that, we weep with those who weep and we rejoice with those who rejoice. And like, I feel like we do that. We are able to do that because we're committed to every week showing up for each other. And if you don't have that commitment, you don't get to see because it's that fruition that comes from just like seasons of length of time and investing in it.
Yeah. I think one thing that's been interesting for me is that I didn't know what to do with my book for a long time. I knew there was a book. I knew I'd written a lot of it, but I wasn't sure what was going to happen with it. And you guys encouraged me and challenged me in that. But then when I did do something with my book, you guys sure led in a whole different way. And that was really interesting to see too. Just the way we show up for each other.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's a good answer.
So, so thanks for leading us into that, Natalie. Into the other question I want to ask, what surprised you the most about being a part of this group? And maybe we've already answered it, but anything else that...
You know what I love? Maybe it's not a surprise, but I love that we can celebrate each other's wins and it doesn't make us feel worse.
No.
Like, I want to see you win. I want to see you thrive. I want to see your business grow. And maybe it's not my turn yet, but because I see you growing, I know that it will eventually be my turn. And that just to celebrate each other.
Yeah. I would say that because we came together to pray for one another, it's more than just like an accountability group or a mastermind or something like that, where you might have a network of, and you're holding one another accountable or you're celebrating too, but they're a little bit different because I'm praying for your wins and they in turn kind of become mine too, because I'm praying so hard for them. I'm intervening for it. And so it is almost like an ownership, like when you win, I win too, and I think that's because we're bringing it into prayer and there's a level of ownership when we're partnering together in prayer.
Yes. You know what else there is? There's intimacy. When you pray with people, that is like intimate because you know their stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not going around telling other people, but I'm bringing it to this group because I know it's safe. And so prayer is so intimate because it's union with people and it's union with God all at the same time, even though we're in different locations. Like, how can it be?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. First of all, I also want to piggyback on that answer you just gave, but we do have another person in our prayer group, and she couldn't join us this weekend. We're in St. Louis this weekend just for a fun girls' weekend, and Libby couldn't be with us, so she's also a part of this. So we also we think of her too and wish she was here with us. But what you just said about prayer and intimacy, has there been a prayer that has been answered, that we've seen God answer in our group? I mean, is there one instance that we can share?
There's so many.
There's so many.
One that specifically stands out to you that you want to just maybe encourage someone else with, because sometimes we keep praying, and we get discouraged because we don't see the answer right away. Is there anything like that we can encourage someone with? It just popped in my head, this question.
For me, it was this desire. We have 5 adult children and we were spread in 4 different states, and we kept praying that we could somehow be united. And last summer, the Lord brought it all together. We moved back to Iowa. The daughter and her son in Missouri moved up to Iowa. So now we're within an hour and a half to 4 hours instead of almost 7 hours north or south. So we prayed for that for a long time. Years.
Yeah.
And I mean, there were times when you were, well, maybe this will be the way that it happened. Right. Then you're praying. You're like, okay, Lord, if then the help. That's the, and you go the door, the way you that prayer. Yeah. And so when you're like, when you came to us and you tell him, this is how you need it. Like, like that's amazing. Really.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. There's something very little, like, we have like those big ones, but then there's little things too where I'm just thinking about recently I watched a novel, and I said, I really would love to see 100 downloads from my list, right? And God answered that prayer with 113, and just like little things like that we have prayed for.
Yeah.
And I think that has been one thing I've grown in us bringing very specific prayers to the Lord and not being afraid of that. And I feel like I've grown a little bit in that over the 4 years because I've seen him answer so many of your specific prayers. I'm like, well, I can give her heat.
Yeah. Exactly.
One of the things we were talking about this morning is the amount of fruit we've seen from this group, and neither you nor I had published it, or you, had published a substantial book when we began.
Yeah.
And all 3 of us have done that since. You have your podcast and other opportunities that we were toying with, even not even really on a strong journey toward at the beginning. And we've seen so much fruit from the prayers that we've prayed.
I think too that one of the prayers that God has been answering and all is that every week we pray for clarity. And there's like somebody that came here.
It's usually me.
Clarity. And then also we ask for productivity because we know we are given this responsibility to steward, right? And we ask for that. And then we also tend to ask that he lead us and that we follow him. And I think that, and then probably also that we would just grow, that he would just continue to grow us. And I think he has been answering that prayer over and over and over again. And sometimes not how we expect it to be answered, but he had been faithful to answer that prayer. And it's not necessarily something you can point to and be like, oh, but over time, you're like, I am not the same person I was 4 years ago. And thanks be to God.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've had a lot of fun together this weekend, but what makes you laugh the most when we're together? Because again, this is the first time we've all really been together, but even if we're on our screens, because I think we're doing pretty good at laughing this weekend, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Everything makes me laugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a joyous group.
Yeah. Yes.
We talk about really heavy things,
Yeah.
but it is founded on joy. And it's easier to laugh. It's easier to be merry when there's joy.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a big piece of it.
I think you pointed out that we kind of cultivated a very intimate space because we're praying for each other. We're being, and I think I want to just be clear because somebody listening to this might be like, oh, well, they gathered this group and immediately they had a sense of intimacy. Like that did not turn right away. I mean, the first 30 days, we had a lot more people in the group and they eventually felt they didn't continue with us. But I think we really hit that intimacy mark probably like a year and a half into the group. And I think that that's important for people to hear because cultivating relationships and being where you feel safe enough to be vulnerable, you can allow for that intimacy. But I think in a way, because we're so vulnerable and we're so intimate with each other and sharing things, we share kind of a lot of, you will not believe what happened that way. Yeah, you will not believe what I just did. And I think that's what I find the most joyous when we're just telling each other stories from the week. And I think that's where I feel when that vulnerability opens up and you're willing to share even the fun things that haven't happened.
The mistakes.
Yeah.
When we feel like I can't do this anymore, why am I trying? I can't want to quit. And we're like, why you can't quit?
Yeah.
Don't quit.
Right.
So it really, we've learned how to persevere together.
Yeah. And we know that we can count on each other to give that, push.
We send a
encouragement when
text.
need
We
it.
send a boxer. Please money for
Exactly. Yeah. And so because none of us have all been together at the same time, so we meet on Zoom on Monday mornings, and that's just been our thing that we've done. But yeah, we also have other tools that we use through social media to stay in touch, and like you said, Boxer and things like that.
Well, I was just realizing when we first started this out, I lived in Northern Illinois. You lived in Southern Illinois. You lived in Iowa. Like you two are in different spots, right? But then since then, I've moved to Texas, then I moved to Alabama. And then you've moved from Illinois to Iowa. So it's like even in all midst of all those transitions, we stayed consistent with it.
Yes. So
And
many transitions.
thankfully, because of technology, we were able to do that. But I don't know if we didn't have technology, if that would have been possible.
But yeah. So yeah, it's been great.
Yeah.
Is there a verse or a truth that has been encouraging you in this season that you would like to share and just maybe encourage someone else?
I tend to think a lot about the imagery that Paul uses about walking. And recently it's been walk worthy of calling to which you've been called. I cannot remember at this moment which one of his letters that is in. But that imagery and occasionally the verses switch. Which particular thing he's talking about switches from time to time. But walk worthy of the calling to which you've been called has been important to me.
Yeah.
For me, it's been Exodus 14:14. It's kind of on my life verses. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. And I've gone through a couple years of some really severe health difficulties and just drawing near to God, saying, hey, I don't know why you think I can do this. Lord, I don't know why you think I can get through this, but I know that he's fighting for me. And my one job is to stay connected to him.
Yeah. You do it well.
He did.
You do. Yeah. Do you have one, Rachel?
Is it entitled to
Extra the tea, maybe.
one of the very full and nonsense, whoever it is, to be ready to preach the word in season and out. And in that same verse, it talks about it's almost equal that we talk about like self-discipline and this and that. And for me right now, I feel like God has me in a season where he's like, tend to the things that get in you. And be consistent. be diligent. And so I just see going back to that verse. So he had something for me to do, and I need to be ready. And being ready means being, self-disciplined and diligent and wanting it.
Yeah.
How about
That's
you,
great.
Miss Host?
Yeah, I was
So we're to answer us. I just want to honor God. I guess it's just the truth, just to honor God with what I'm doing. That's just my heart's desire, and I don't always do it well, as you all know. You know the good, the bad, and the ugly of my life. But yeah, just to honor God and whatever He's calling me to do.
But you do. You do that really
Well,
well.
thank you. But some days doesn't feel like it. We all have those days.
We all have
where
those
it's just
days,
like,
yeah.
I'm just failed you miserably
Yeah.
today, Lord.
Yeah.
Forgive me and help me to do better tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I know why I put I've never asked you guys this before, but I know why I put the call out there for the prayer group. Like when you guys saw my like message, what prompted you, or what made you say yes?
How long?
I mean, I knew you guys a little bit, and I knew you guys, but it's not like we were in any kind of like really close group or anything.
No, we wouldn't.
What kind of prompted you guys to say yes?
I know for me.
Okay, no way.
Yes, it was connection. I was just like, I just love people in my
Yeah.
I just love people. And I think a group of people who understood what we did, because no one in my real life knows anything about being a coach or being a podcaster or writer. Like, they're just like, what do you do?
Yeah.
But like, you guys get it. And it's so lovely to not have to explain anything. Yeah.
I think I actually know the answer to that too. I probably had a couple of things. One was I longed for more writing companionship, not necessarily critiquing or things like that, but just people who understood. That was one piece of it. And I'm not as young as Rachel, so the second piece of it has just disappeared. There was a very specific reason, and it is now.
Okay.
It
Never
is-
let her lay.
What about you, Joe?
Maybe it'll come back.
I'll raise my hand.
Yeah. Thank you. I think mine, I don't know 100%, but I think I probably just could have used more prayer in my life. For me to pray, I think that's probably why. I think sometimes there's seasons, and at least there has been in my life, when I'm really good at prayer. And then there's sometimes I'm getting a season that's like kind of a surface prayer season. And I think it was probably one of those seasons I'm like, I just really need to go deeper in my prayer life. And plus, I wanted to get to know other women, some other women better. Like you said, connection.
So if somebody is listening to us, then I know we're like trying to make sure that we're being encouraging, like when we were talking about what we're going to do. But for somebody who's listening and who is like, I love what they have, like I want something similar, what kind of suggestions or tips do you guys have for maybe starting their own or joining something or looking for something?
Just to start one, just to invite people.
And keep it small.
Yeah. That's, on a big,
Yeah.
because it just won't become intimate then if it's big.
And to say yes.
Yeah.
If somebody else puts it out there, say yes.
Yeah.
I would say too, like, it doesn't have to be fancy. It did help, I think, that the initial ask I put out there had a structure to it.
Yes.
People that it felt, but it was a simple structure. We just read a little devotional thing and we prayed together over that, like what that devotional was.
That's what we did. That's all it's time. We don't do
No, we don't do that anymore. But it gave us an entry
structure.
So one, we structured it around a topic or a thing, a season of life that we're all in.
Yes.
So I think that is helpful to try to find people who, can kind of come together over a commonality.
Yep.
Yeah, that did help. But I wouldn't don't try to make it age related
No, don't
or
do that.
even season of life related, because I would have totally stifled myself from gaining from these women if I had said, I'm only going with my peers.
Yes.
Right.
So a commonality was helpful, keeping it a simple structure, but just something that laying out an expectations. I think it made it easier for people to opt into it because they knew what to expect and they knew they weren't going to have to share like intimate prayers, right?
Right.
So that gave us an entry point, and then we just continued with it. And slowly over time, that we kind of were done with that, and we didn't have to go back to it after that. But it did give us kind of the entry point.
Right. Yeah.
I also want to note that we have learned and grown so much from Rachel. One of the reasons that I wanted to say yes was because of you. And I was like, I admire Rachel's gifts. She's so smart about business and such. And I'm like, I can learn from her because I was just starting out. And so it has nothing to do with age. It has to do with the gifts that I saw in you. And I said, I want to be next to that.
Yeah. That's what wisdom right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's so great. And I think each one of us have probably had people that have said, wait a minute, you're part of a prayer group. I wish I had that in my life. And so you can have that in your life.
Right.
You know, and I truly believe God handpicked,
Mm-hmm.
you know, who was going to be in this group. And so he'll do the same for you if you're
And I
looking
think
to do that.
I hear a lot right now about people just feeling so lonely, even in their churches. And I want to encourage you because I was feeling that way a little bit. And the conviction I felt was stop, like, be the inviter. Stop waiting to be You want somebody else to organize something there for you to jump into. And you need to stop putting that onus on other people.
Yes.
And just put the invitation out there. And it's hard because you're like, what?
Yeah.
But that's not trusting God to work through it. And so.
And also be a gracious human, be a good friend.
Yeah.
Like if you get in a group and there's like this, I don't know, we have such camaraderie. We have such love for each other but yet I hear women all the time in the church, they're like scuffling. You know, they're like, oh, women, they're so nasty. And so just be a good person. Bring Jesus with you and be tender and kind. You know, there are some times where we disagree with it. But we get over it. You know, it's just like, it's real life. We're real people.
And I think there's a level of where sometimes there's have been very few times, but sometimes when you have said something to me and there's an immediate like reaction.
Yes.
And I have to say, this person loves me. They want the best for me. I need to humbly receive what they're saying and not be offended. And it's hard to put yourself in, but that comes from being committed to a group of people and putting yourself into that vulnerable place. And I do think that we tend not to get there in our groups that we form at church, unfortunately. But I think that's what Scripture really kind of laid out for us. And when you do allow for it, it's just such a beautiful and rich experience. And I really wish everybody had one.
Bottom line.
Well, on the podcast this summer, I have been focusing on the theme of Summer of Abundance, and it's a series that's been a 12-week series. It'll end in the fall, but I would love to know, what has abundant life in Christ meant for you, or either means for you now or in this season that you're in, either in life or in summer? What does living an abundant life mean to you?
I think an abundant life is a full life, tempered with a space for what God is leading you into, and the people, and a pace that goes along with that. And I hate to do this, but I'm going to rhyme up grace for yourself and others.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
Space and grace?
No, it's worse. Space, grace, and pace. I should have rhymed. It wasn't even on purpose. I'm sorry.
But someone's going to remember that. Yeah. Say that again.
Space, grace, and pace in the midst of a full life, so that you have room for what God brings to you.
Yes. Wow. I think I 100% agree with that. 'Cause I was going to say, having both rest and work that's intentional on both sides of it. That's something I've learned over the last few years, is that abundant life is one that has intentionality, that honors both resting with the Lord and also working with Him.
Yeah.
For me, it's more about, like whenever you hear the word abundance, you think about things. Like it's not things, it's God.
Yeah.
It's having more of God. I think it was Jeannie Mayo who once said, you can have as much of God as you want, like all of us. And so we are invited to drink deeply, to that closely, to fellowship. And that's what the abundant life is.
Yeah.
Well, Eden, right?
Yeah.
It's the Garden of Eden. It's that, like you're talking about, that intimate
Fellowship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And that's where we began in this series, with intimacy, you know, and abiding with Christ. Yeah. Yeah.
See?
So before we wrap up, because we could,
Yeah.
we had a hard stop on and that has extended. We started, I think, what it is. And just continued. Anyway,
The group is smaller and the time is
longer. Yes. So before we close out today, because yes, we still have the rest of the weekend to spend together, but I would love to just for you to share one piece of encouragement for the woman listening today, if that just needs a shot in the arm, just something that's on your heart that you could encourage another with today. No, could be
Think
completely
first.
on the spot.
I would say you need to know that God sees you. God sees everything, every little thing, every big thing, every hard thing, every beautiful thing. And knowing that is so comforting and brings us peace. As long as we know he's near, we can get through it.
Yeah.
I think I would say you are not alone. No matter how you feel, you are not alone.
The phrase "you're made for more," it came to mind, and I think what I mean by that is God created you very uniquely, and he didn't just create you to just exist. He created you on purpose, for a purpose, and that's to grow in relationship with him. It's to be a reflection of him, but it's also meant to, you're meant to be a cultivator, a grower of things. And sometimes that's hard to hear, well, I feel like I'm just stagnant or I'm just kind of stuck. That's not his desire for you. And I would just encourage you to sit with him and ask him to reveal to you how he sees you and how he created you. And ask him, that's something we ask him every week is, Lord, please just lead us through the right doors. Use us, grow us. And I think he had so much for your good and for his glory. Seek him out and ask him to reveal it to you. And that's what I would say.
Yeah. Great words of encouragement. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for asking us
Oh, if you only knew what it took for us to do this, though. We moved for
Played with the lighting.
Yes. I'll work down the mic where, So, yes, it's not perfect, but boy, we're having a lot of fun together to do.
Mess laughter.
Yes, much laughter. So, I thank you for joining us today. And I would love for you to be able to access where these women are. So, I will share all of that in the show notes where you can find Rachel and Natalie and Pamela and what they offer and how they are here to encourage and strengthen other women, so like yourself and like me. So you can find that in the show notes. And I just thank you for being here today. And thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Wasn't that a fun episode? I pray that you were blessed to listen as much as I was blessed to be able to share this conversation with you. These three women are true gifts in my life, and I am just so grateful to God for them. I truly am. This makes me think, what friends are gifts to you? Why not just take a moment to reach out to them today and just to let them know how very much they mean to you? May we never take our friends and the friendships that God has blessed us with for granted. For those of us who are praying women, we understand that prayer isn't just saying mere words. It's not just reciting a bunch of memorized words or just reciting a list of the things that we need or want, but prayer is actually connecting with God, our creator, the creator of the universe. It's communicating with him and listening and just being with him. And prayer is really what originally connected us for. And it's what keeps us connected. Not just, I guess, to each other, but ultimately to God. So, do you have a group that you pray with on a regular basis? If you don't, I highly suggest finding one or creating one. It doesn't have to be perfect, and you don't have to be the perfect prayer. Um, just start. I would say this is one of those unexpected blessings in my life, more than I ever thought it would be. And so I want that for you. And if you need help with that or want some ideas of how to do that, just message me either on social media or on my website, and I'll be glad to at least give some ideas for you. And I'm grateful that I get to do life with these women, even if it is through our computer screens weekly and our Voxer app, sometimes almost daily. But praying with others is a powerful connector. You can find more about each of these dear friends of mine in the show notes and the links in the show notes, and I highly encourage you to connect with them. You will be inspired through their online and their social media spaces. So check them out, look for them, and say hi. Tell them that you watched the podcast and that you just want to get to know them better. And be sure to check out my encouraging free resources available to you in my free resource library on my website. The link for that is in the show notes as well. Next week, I invite you back because we resume our Summer of Abundance series as we explore the topic of the power of our words and how speaking life is the gateway to living a full life. So come back next Tuesday to be encouraged and inspired in your own abundant life. I can't wait to see you then. So thank you. Thanks for being here today. Thank you for just showing up, always being encouraged, always being inspired, and just having a heart that you want to learn more of how to live an abundant life. I am cheering you on today, and I am praying for you today. So God bless you. Thank you so much for joining me here today. You can find more at julielefebvre.com. And until next time, stay encouraged.